What is going on, you guys? I'm your host, Stacey Cole Morgan, and you are listening to the MorganMan Sports Podcast here on Spotify, Google Podcasts, GoodPod HQ, or wherever you find your preferred podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a jam-packed show talking about the Call of Duty League Boston Major 1 Week 3 online qualifiers, the top 3 matches to look out forward to this weekend, actually starting today, of this podcast right here. And also, guys, we are talking about the firing of head coach Arthur Smith and the Atlanta Falcons 2024 to-do list for this offseason to make it one of the most successful ones in a very long time. So without any further delay, let's go get straight into today's action. Alright, guys, so we are getting into things right away right here. And if you are brand new to the YouTube channel or the podcast in general, guys, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button here on the Belly Up YouTube channel along with my personal YouTube channel. Subscribe to Belly Up Friends, the personal podcast, guys. It is a tremendous time to be a part of Belly Up right now, and I am super grateful. And also, guys, make sure you are taking advantage of the SeatGeek offer through Belly Up. Right now, you can save $20 with SeatGeek at www.seatgeek.com or the app with code BellyUpSports. The promo code would be in the description below for you guys to check that out. So now, since we got the housekeeping out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the Call of Duty League. So, the Call of Duty League this weekend has got some okay matches. It was kind of really hard to determine what was going to be the pinpoint matches to look out for. But these are my top 3 personal recommendations to keep an eye out for this weekend. So coming at number 1 is the number 7 seed, the Los Angeles Guerrillas, taking on the number 2 seed, the Atlanta FaZe. Second on the list is number 5 seed Toronto taking on 6 seed Seattle Surge. And finally, number 3, this is the bottom of the barrel right here. The 12th seed Minnesota taking on the 11th seed, the Carolina Royal Ravens. So, guys, this weekend's matches really comes down to whenever FaZe struggles when they come off a bye or like a long period stretch. But this is a different FaZe squad right here. And Los Angeles Guerrillas has just not always been that great. Yes, they've won a major here and there. I believe they won a major against the Atlanta FaZe in the Vanguard season. I believe it was like Major 2, Major 3 right in there. But, again, LAG has just not been the same. And they're coming in with Assault, Diamond Con, Esriel, and Fame. You know, it's just not a squad that I would see, honestly, being at number 7 right now. And that is honestly shocking, but it is way too early in the season. So that number 7 seed could honestly fall to like maybe, 9 or 10 by the end of it. And the reason I'm picking Toronto and Seattle Surge, I was going to say Seattle like Ultra or whatever, something crazy like that. But the Seattle Surge taking on the Toronto Ultra, guys, this is just where Envoy really needs to go off, because Toronto Ultra has already been in that kind of category where it's like mid-tier, but also kind of like finding their strengths in certain games and then falling back in certain games. Like, they need to really step up and go head to head with the Seattle Surge in order to really secure a dominant victory. And that's why I'm going to say the Toronto Ultra is going to win this in a 3-1 fashion. And I forgot to mention, but Atlanta FaZe, I'm going to say it's going to be a 3-0 going into this series. And finally, number 3, the Minnesota Rocker taking on the Carolina Royal Ravens. Guys, the Carolina Royal Ravens definitely need to win this one right here, because there's so much more talent going into the squad with Clayster, GodRx, Gwen, Real, which, by the way, Real is looking to be replaced at the time of this recording, which is Monday, January 8th at 7:27 p.m. So the change could be already in effect. I'm not sure just yet. I did see that just floating around on Twitter through like, Breakpoint.gg and, Jacob Hill, all of them. But yeah, still though, Clayster, Goddard, Gwen, and Real, this is a squad that definitely needs to win some games. And then Minnesota, you got Accuracy, Looney, Lens, and Awakening. And Vivid, of course, one of them's the substitute. I forget which one, but still, even with them players, they need a win. But I feel like this is going to lean more into the favor of the Carolina Royal Ravens just because Clayster can come back. Clayster can always come back and win some games. He did it with the Paris Legion, or well, Las Vegas Legion, as you would say now. And, he turned that around a lot. So it's going to be an interesting one, but I'm going to say Carolina in a 3-2 over the Minnesota Rocker. So, guys, now we are switching on over to the Atlanta Falcons side of things. And, guys, let me be the first to say I do not like the firing of anybody. I'm not sticking up for Arthur Smith or anybody like that, but I hate to see someone get fired. I really do, because that could be a stressful situation. It could always happen to me. It could happen to you guys, depending on your job, whatever the case may be. But with that being said, I do think it was time to move on from Arthur Smith, especially after 3 seasons, man, of going 7-10 and no progress was made. The only progress that was made was at the beginning of the season when we started off hot 2-0. Defeating the Carolina Panthers, defeating the Green Bay Packers, who are in the playoffs. Guys, that right there, when we was 2-0, I was like, this is the season. This is the season where things has definitely turned around for this Arthur Smith-led offense, and we're going to be in the playoffs. But that just never happened. And then, now here we are at the end of the season, and we only won, 5 other games now and lost 10? Come on, man. That's you can't do that. So, I really hate it for Arthur Smith. I really do. But he ain't hurting. He's going to be back in Tennessee, I do believe, with Mike Vrabel. If Mike Vrabel does indeed keep his head coaching job, that is. But we'll wait and see. But right now, the Falcons are now mainly focused on getting a new head coach and quarterback. So before we get into that little situation right here, I do got the Atlanta Falcons home and away schedule. Now, these are in no particular order right here. But guys, we got at home the Panthers, Buccaneers, Saints, New York Giants, Dallas Cowboys, Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Chargers, Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Seattle Seahawks. In away, we got Carolina, Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Washington Commanders, Denver, Las Vegas Raiders, and the Minnesota Vikings. So, guys, that is your home and away schedule right there. Again, it's in no particular order because why would it be already? You usually get that in like June, somewhere right in that time frame. So, this is a long off season, guys. So, trust me, we're going to be updating every single little detail to come out here very soon and throughout this entire off season. Whether or not like Calais Campbell's going to come back, sign with another team, Jason Bates gets an extension, whatever the case may be. So, again, it's a long off season. So now for the kind of like the main event of this episode right here, guys. So the Falcons off-season to-do list for the 2024 season. So number 1, obviously, is done. Is checked. Fire the head coach, offense coordinator, and Desmond Ridder. Now, of course, the OC is definitely going to be going at a later time, I will say. And then Desmond Ridder is also going to be out of the door. Again, don't like seeing people lose their jobs, but hey, it is what it is. That is Arthur Blank's decision, along with Rich McKay, which I got a little detail I do want to share after this to-do list about Rich McKay and Arthur Blank. So number 2, obviously, is look for the new head coach. And this is my list right here of who I think should be candidates for the Atlanta Falcons this year. Number one, Mike Tomlin, Steelers head coach. Guys, he's definitely led that locker room to what now? 10, 12, 16 straight winning seasons. And he's done it with a rookie quarterback last year. He's done it with him now this year. Having, a little bit of quarterback mix up here and there. But still, though, they're in the playoffs. They got a winning season. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. So that would be someone I would look at. Number two on my list is Eric Bieniemy, the Commanders' offensive coordinator. Now, granted, he could be the next in line for the Commanders' head coach position since Ron Rivera got fired. But if I was Arthur Blank, I would look into Eric Bieniemy a little bit more closely because, again, 3 years ago, we did look at Bieniemy. And there was just something in the air that did not feel right with Mr. Blank that led to Arthur Smith getting hired. So, again, I would look at Eric Bieniemy this offseason. Ben Johnson, Lions offensive coordinator. This would definitely be a good move right here, but it's just like with Arthur Smith, he's a great offensive coordinator. He really is. But is he going to be a good head coach? That's where I draw the line at right there. Yes, you might be good at one position, but are you going to be good at the other while also being the OC or DC, whoever we choose? That's going to be the biggest question of them all right there. Because, again, with Arthur Smith, he was a highly talented offense coordinator back in Tennessee with a top 5 offense overall. And then he comes to Atlanta, and we're bottom of the barrel in offense overall. Minus the running game, I will say we are top 10 run offense. So that is very good, but that also comes down to like quarterback play and so much on beyond that. So Ben Johnson, I would look at him. But the last person on my list right here, and I'll throw up some, other noteworthy candidates, but this is just my top 4 people I would look at for serious contention for the Atlanta Falcons. But number 4 is Jim Harbaugh, Michigan's head coach. So obviously, Jim Harbaugh has been out of the league for a while for the NFL since 2013. And you got to sit here and think, okay, if you were to bring Jim Harbaugh in, is his style of offense and defense, since he is the head coach, he can control a little bit of both. Is it gonna match up with today's standard of the NFL? That's the question right there. Now I'm going off of just random tweets that I've seen on Twitter today, or X that you want to call it. They're saying that Jim Harbaugh could be a good candidate for any of the head coaching positions because he has turned the 49ers around, but that was years ago. Now here we are in present day. Can he do the same thing? That's going to be the question moving forward, not just for the Atlanta Falcons, but for all of the other, 30-plus NFL teams, or 10, whoever's looking for a new head coach, basically. Commanders, Chargers, whoever. Patriots, that would be a good one. So, now speaking of some kind of noteworthy other candidates, I've been seeing Todd Monken, former UGA offense coordinator, and now Ravens offense coordinator. He could be a candidate to be the next head coach for the Atlanta Falcons. But me personally, I'm going to go ahead and turn that one down right there. Just for the simple fact, just because he's just signed with the Baltimore Ravens this past offseason. And there's no way the Baltimore Ravens are fixing to let him go after just earning them the number 1 seed in the AFC. So that's, why would he even be a candidate right now? That's just my thing. But hey, stuff can happen. Number two is definitely Bill Belichick. I'm turning that one down immediately. And there's no beef between me and Bill or whatever like that. But Bill Belichick, his system is it was just meant for Tom Brady. That's all it was. That system was all Tom Brady, and then once Tom Brady left New England, Bill Belichick just became another head coach. That's all it is. And I do not want to see Bill Belichick in Atlanta. I really don't. And so that just it kind of worries me that he's going to be, but at the same time, I was listening to the presser today for the Atlanta Falcons, Arthur Blank and Rich McKay, and they're saying that they are definitely going to take their time with this one, make sure that this next head coach will be in line for a faster rebuild than taking 3 years with no progress. So I got kind of like the decision right there, but if you are going to go for a faster rebuild to get in the playoffs and potentially win a Super Bowl, Bill Belichick is not your answer. Definitely is not your answer, and I do not want to see that happen to this Atlanta Falcons organization. So again, guys, those are my top four candidates right there for the Atlanta Falcons head coach position to start off the 2024 NFL season this coming year, which will be now in 9 months, 8 months, something crazy like that. So number three on this to-do list is give Ryan Nielsen another season. Yes, Ryan Nielsen's defense was definitely elite for that first maybe 3/4 of the season. And then it kind of started falling off. But again, players were getting injured. The next man up mentality, and they were pretty much like rookies or like third stringers who really hadn't been in the game for quite some time, and also just getting injured. So that's kind of what hurt Ryan Nielsen's defense a little bit. But I definitely would give him another season, give him another shot, let him get some more players that he knows and trusts that can run that defense of his. Because again, that defense was a top 10 this past season, and then it just quickly fell apart due to injuries and just so much on beyond. Number four is extend Jesse Bates. I was going to say JC, but Jesse Bates, I would definitely extend his contract. He's been a lifesaver for the Atlanta Falcons in certain situations. That's more of the reason why we won 7 games. It's because of Jesse Bates. With the interceptions, forced fumbles, blocked passes, whatever the case may be, Jesse Bates has done it. And that was a solid pickup this past offseason for Terry Fontenot. Number 5, this is the draft, but Jaden Daniels is a must-get pick. No questions asked. Jaden Daniels, spoiler alert, this is my draft pick for the Atlanta Falcons. You got to move up and get Jaden Daniels, because Jaden Daniels is going to likely go to Chicago or, the Jets, Patriots, whoever. That's where he's going to be going towards. So I want to see the Atlanta Falcons move up with whoever the next head coach is and get Jaden Daniels, because Jaden Daniels is definitely a very talented quarterback. I think he is better than that Caleb Williams from USC. And yeah, it's just Jaden Daniels or nothing. And whoever the new head coach is, this is coming at number 6, makes a call on a new offense coordinator. Definitely, we need that new offense coordinator to definitely take advantage of the weapons that we have right now in Atlanta. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Tyler Algier, Bijan Robinson. Just those 4 alone, Scotty Miller. 5 very talented weapons on offense. And then, of course, you can't forget the offensive line. They're top 10, top 15 right in there. All it comes down is just quarterback play and a good offense coordinator that's going to get your receivers wide open. That's all it is. And then finally, number 7, this is going back to the draft. Another defensive heavy draft outside of the Jaden Daniels quarterback pick. Go heavy on defense. Get you an edge rusher. That's what we've been lacking ever since 2016 when we went to the Super Bowl with Mike. I was going to say Mike Beasley. Vic Beasley. Yes, Vic Beasley. I couldn't remember his name at first, but we hadn't had a pass rush since then. And that's crazy, guys. It really is. So definitely, if you don't go edge in the draft, go edge in the free agency market with Chase Young. Chase Young is definitely great. I can see him in that Atlanta Falcons uniform right now. It looks so good on him right now. I could just picture it. So if not the draft for an edge rusher, definitely free agency, but still make this draft a little bit defense heavy. Because again, Ryan Nielsen, you're giving him another year. This is my to-do list. I don't know about anybody else's to-do list, like Arthur Blank's, Richard K's, whoever. But this is my to-do list if I was in charge of the Atlanta Falcons today. So guys, that was my top 7 to-do list right there for the Atlanta Falcons in this 2024 NFL offseason. It's going to be a long one, guys. We got just... Oh, it's terrible being a Falcons fan some days, but also it's got its rewards. Right now, we got a reward with letting Arthur Smith go, but now the pain and suffering of finding another head coach, offensive coordinator, quarterback, just a whole new regime yet again under 3 years. It's terrible, man. It really is. But hey, hopefully Arthur Blank and Rich McKay has got something going. So that does pull me to what I said a little bit earlier about Rich McKay and Arthur Blank. If them two picked Bill Belichick as our next head coach of the Atlanta Falcons organization, I think we need to start pointing fingers to upper management, aka Rich McKay, Arthur Blank. Why am I saying this? Well, again, I should say, Bill Belichick, he's old. His system was just built for Tom Brady. And ever since Tom Brady left, he's just another head coach in the National Football League. Now, again, I do understand that Mr. Blank has made some calls to people that he trusts very well in the National Football League of how to build this team back up to a high standard, playing in the playoffs, potentially competing for a Super Bowl and all that. But it's not Bill Belichick. It's not. And if Mr. Blank and Mr. McKay chooses Bill Belichick, it's going to make me sit back and wonder, all right, when do we start blaming management and the owners and the vice presidents and the CEOs, all that? When do we start blaming them? Because then it would look like the front office doesn't know what they're doing. And that's why we've been so lackluster. And that's why fans should honestly, if that pick were to happen of getting Bill Belichick, I think fans should start writing in that Mr. Blank needs to sell the team to someone who's going to be willing to have deeper pockets and go for it all in, pretty much. And, get the hottest head coach candidate there is, instead of someone whose system has not been relevant since Tom Brady when he left New England back in 2020, right in there, if I'm not mistaken. So that's just my little food for thought right there, that if Bill Belichick is picked by Rich McKay and Arthur Blank, when do we start saying that the front office needs a little bit of changing with the owner selling and McKay getting the hell out of office? So, guys, what did you think of today's episode? Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy the long Falcons talk, the Call of Duty League side of things? Let me know down in the comment section below. here on the video side of YouTube for this podcast. And tweet me, guys, MMS Stacy Morgan on Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it. Let me know what you think of today's episode. But until then, guys, I, Morgan, will catch you all later. Peace.